Kia ora tātou. Thank you all for coming. It's the second media stand-up in 5 days. You see, there you are. This is an important announcement, hopefully a big step forward for Aotearoa New Zealand on an issue that is dividing us. You'll all have the media statement and the proposal, and I'll ask Dan Gordon, the Mayor of Waimakariri, to speak first.
Thank you.
Daniel.
Thank you. Well, thanks, Wayne, and thanks to you all for coming today. I'm pleased to be here in Auckland to be part of this new consensus path for Three Waters, and it's great to be here with my colleagues, the mayors of Auckland and Christchurch. Mayor Helen Warboys of Manawatu also planned to be with us today. However, due to family circumstances, was unable to join us. Today we announce a path forward to make constructive progress on the Three Waters debate. We're building off the hard work that many councils across this country have put in over the last year in finding a better way to progress Three Waters reform. Our proposal sets out principles that we think could form the basis of a common sense approach to reform the Three Waters sector. It's time for the old divisive argument to end and for a new consensus to begin. And we encourage all political parties to get behind it. To use a rugby analogy at the time of the World Cup, it's a loose ball that's popped out of a really nasty ruck. Now it's the chance for the Prime Minister and all our leaders to pick up the ball and to run with it. The principles of the package that we have are straightforward. We support the new drinking water regulator. We support local ownership and accountability of water supplies. We support regional aggregation of water where that makes sense. We also support advancing a financing option that would work for all types of councils. For us, it's always been about ownership, effective control and influence. These are key to our communities, and this consensus plan addresses it. It's time for the old divisive argument to end and for a new constructive conversation to begin to build consensus across Aotearoa New Zealand. I'll now hand over to Mayor Phil.
Thank you, Dan. Christchurch has consistently supported a better approach for reform. I support this package. We should all now pull together and work for the country's best interest and get on with introducing a reform package that communities will support. An important part of this package is the retention of our, especially in Christchurch, but there's other areas, our stormwater assets. Christchurch has argued strongly for this because it makes sense. All catchments are different and we must integrate with the council's road assets. Christchurch also hopes that the Prime Minister and Local Government Minister Naya Mahuta will pick up the ball and run with it. We'll support them. We don't want them to succeed in solving a long-term... We do want them to succeed in solving a long-term problem. This is a constructive program to make it happen. And lastly, if two Cantabrians and an Aucklander can get together and agree on this as a good starting point, the sky's the limit. So I'm really looking forward to working with everyone to get a good result for the country. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Auckland has always opposed Three Waters, even before I arrived, and the government's plan just will not work. Nobody has been able to say why Watercare, our best performing CCO, would do better if it had to take over 40 separate water schemes from the north. And nobody has been able to say why Northlanders will be better off with Aucklanders running their 40 separate water schemes. We need a better proposal, and today is a start. Under my leadership, Auckland supports ideas that will work in practice. Auckland wants a national consensus to support long-term investments that are needed. And today is the first step towards that. I hope the government and everyone in Parliament will support the new conversations that we all need to see. Now, I'm sure there'll be some questions.
Gentlemen,
He will answer them.
You've all alluded to the fact that it's become ugly, it's become divisive. Is this a rebrand today of Three Waters?
Well, we think so, and we think there's a great opportunity for the government and opposition parties to climb on board. This matter is too important for it not to transcend party politics and transcend elections. We think there's a great opportunity to build consensus. We're seeing mayors across our country jumping on board with this today in support of it. So, looking at this last recent local government election, there's a really strong message from our communities. They want localism to be the centre of it. They want effective ownership and control, and they don't want the entity-based model the government's proposing. We are not against reform. It's just the way the government's going about it, and there's a better way, and that's what we've outlined today.
Who originated this work, and how long has it been going on?
Sorry?
Who originated this particular work, and how long?
This is a conversation that Mayor Warboys and myself have had with both the mayors of Christchurch and Auckland. We wanted to build a greater consensus in this country. It's important that we have the mayors of both our largest cities on board, and that's the basis on which we came to have this conversation, to present this plan. But I'm delighted that these two mayors have come on board and are supporting this direction, because it's really important. But their fingerprints are on this as well. It's a consensus plan from all of us.
What support do you have from other councils around the country?
Sorry?
What support do you have from other councils?
We're starting to see it coming through. We've just sent some emails out this afternoon, and they're starting to come on board. We'll know in the coming days what that's looking like, and we'll communicate that.
Mayor Brown, when you met with Jacinda Ardern and Nanaia Mahuta, did you discuss this proposal at all?
When I met with them, we discussed Three Waters, but we discussed quite a lot of things actually. And I raised the point, which I just said before, is there's yet to explain to me how our best CCO, water care, would be improved with 40 new Northland ones, and vice versa. And that wasn't really answered. So we kind of agreed that we'd keep discussing and see if we could come up with a solution which better met the needs of the country. And I believe that this does that.
Just let me say one thing. On the One News website, it says that we're going into fight for Three Waters. The word fight shouldn't be there. We're there to pull together and have discussion and make it happen, because there's been a bit of, not fight, but it's been a bit of argy-bargy going on, and we don't need that. We want to sort out what's best for the country.
Consensus.
Yeah.
And I'll just open it up. When you say in the proposal you want to create meaningful roles for mana whenua, could you elaborate on that for a little bit, please?
Well, meaningful roles sounds exactly that. It's by having a conversation with our mana whenua, and to come up with and through that conversation to co-design and work out with mana whenua how they would like to be involved.
But less than co-governance.
I'm not ruling that in or out. Actually, that's a conversation that we want to have with mana whenua, and that's at the level. My district, we have a really good relationship with mana whenua, and we have lots of examples of co-governance. I'm not afraid of co-governance being there. That's a conversation I want to have at a local level with my iwi.
So to be clear, from the three of you, you're open to the concept of co-governance in this?
Not opposed to it.
No, the other two as well?
Not opposed to it at all. Christchurch has a fantastic relationship with
Well, to a degree, and the Northland water systems have some of that already. So I just wanted to get my questions about how it would actually work addressed. Rather, I mean, the bit I don't like about the existing scheme is it looks like it's going to be top heavy in management, who will no doubt come up with some dumb idea like a central call centre. At the moment, localism means that when you have a problem, the people who are running it are there where you are. That's what I like about, and in terms of aggregating similar groups, it might well be that a regional water entity consisting of the Northland small ones has some advantages, but jamming them in with the largest urban one doesn't make sense.
What parts of the existing plan will be kept under this new proposal?
It's a bit hard to see who you are under that light there.
From Today FM, what parts of the existing plan will be kept under this new proposal?
vast majority, actually, including Te Mata Arawai, which we absolutely support the regulator. It's critically important. But the key difference is how it will be owned and structured. The entity-based model is not one that we support or want to see remain. We want to have a genuine conversation with the government about how we can achieve that. If we can get rid of that sticking point, there's a lot that we can achieve to achieve their objectives, but also the objectives that are right for all New Zealanders. We all want safe drinking water, and that's the objective that we're all wanting to seek.
Wayne, you said Auckland Council was opposed to Three Waters. It's probably more correct to say it was opposed to aspects of Three Waters.
Well, it may well be, but it does say it was opposed to it. I mean, even the outgoing mayor announced that he was opposed to it, and it is again like this aspects of it. They've moved to actually improve standards. No one's opposing that, but we just think that dividing New Zealand in four and lumping 40 small ones in with the biggest one in New Zealand makes no sense, and it won't result in improvements for either of those. So that we're not opposing moving towards a better result, but we just don't think that will do it. In fact, it definitely won't.
Can each of you tell us when you informed your own councillors you were doing this?
Well, to be honest, I had a conversation with my councillors this morning.
Wayne?
I think formally they've only been done much the same today, but there's been a debate about this for 6 months, and you've attended at least 100 of the meetings at which this has been an issue, and people, as you've heard, right across our city want things made better, but don't actually think that the...
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I mean, you talk about a team of 21. When precisely did you tell your councillors this?
Well, they were told today in much the same way as this has come together.
Well, they've been advised, all of our councils have been advised today.
They've all by something's coming.
And look, end of last week, just to clarify, end of last week, I said to my colleagues I was coming to Auckland with the purpose of discussing this today. So I was open and transparent to my council.
Will it be discussed at the inaugural council meeting tomorrow, Mayor Brown?
The inaugural one tomorrow is in fact kind of like a pro forma part, an extension of Friday's official bun fight. The proper actual one where we debate things will probably be a week later, sorry, and definitely will be. But tomorrow is one that was kind of organised before I even got here. It's a tradition.
Is there anything else on the agenda for tomorrow's meeting?
Apparently I have to. It's an opportunity for the new councillors to make their first speech. It'll be as much of a surprise to me as it is to you, actually.
Wayne, how do you think your councillors will feel being told of this minutes before the media and the public were told?
Well, I don't think they could have been told much further before, because in fact this is when it's happened. And so, and we've told also the government about the same time as well. So there is a time at which things have their right time to emerge, and it's been largely driven by this gentleman here, but we're happy to join in because it makes a lot of sense.
Common sense.
And we've all been casting about for a solution, and I think you'll find from what I spoke to the ministers that they are also casting about for a good solution. We don't want something that's going to be overturned at the next election. That's the wrong thing, and I think we'll probably a couple more questions and I'll go in and
to be clear, this is a declaration from mayors.
Yeah,
So it's coming from mayors, and that's the basis on which we are building this plan of consensus.
Mayor Brown, when you sat down with Jacinda Ardern, did you raise this proposal of an alternative way forward for Three Waters with her, and did she seem open to it?
We raised a significant number of issues that we were going to chat about, and we had a positive engagement, polite and very helpful, about a number of issues. There was the CCOs, there's Three Waters, there's what are the correct things that Auckland really wants for its transport issues. And so we've agreed to go further, and this is part of going further.
So this isn't about scrapping co-governance?
This is about providing a solution to the difficult problem of improving Auckland's and New Zealand's three water supply systems in a manner that doesn't become divisive for our country.
Correct.
I think that sums it up pretty well.
Are any mayors in opposition of this proposal?
Well, I don't know them all.
We haven't spoken to them yet, so we've embarked on that conversation, and in the coming days we'll be able to let you know more.
What's
Thank
the
you.
next step in the proposal? Are you going to put it up to submissions at all?
Well, this will be a matter for... What we'd like to get is as many councils on board and to present this to government and hope that they come back round the table to talk to us about a consensus that we could build to end divisive politics.
And we want to work with them to go forward, because as we were talking before, we don't want to see it all flip-flop and rescinded and stuff like that. We're better off to work with government that we've got for a solution that goes on forever, because the money that would be spent rescinding things is total waste.
So what's the next step from here then?
Well, we are building, as I said before, we are building that support from councils, and we will communicate the next steps when we've got the numbers that we would like to see, and then to present that to government.
But you mean support from mayors, because...
Well, support from mayors, and indirectly, one would, like I will with mine, consult with my council on it and engage with them. That's what we do.
And Wayne, you'll consult with your council?
Yeah, so we should.
Oh, absolutely, and my neighbouring mayors as well, some of whom are definitely in favour of this. But I think the next step is a mixture of what we do and what others do, and I think that's probably about enough at the moment. But thanks very much for coming.
Just one more.
One for the road.
How divisive it has become. Is there any way the three of you can see Three Waters getting through in its current form?
Well, the government has the numbers to push it through in its present form. We would hope that they would take a pause and look at this plan that we've put together and try and build a consensus across New Zealand with all councils. That's what we're asking for, is to partner genuinely with government, and that we have carried the support of all parties in Parliament, because for this to survive, it's got to survive other elections, and that's what Mayor Major was talking before, and Mayor Brown, and that's important to us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Cheers.